Hello, optimists. Welcome to the Optimum Report. I'm your host, Gary Levy, the Optimist, teacher at the Optimum Academy, where we unified physics and developed cutting-edge models of science and neuroscience and even athletics. So, this is the first episode back since Andrew Yang has dropped out. A little bit heartbroken, but I think we all knew that was a possibility, that he would drop out. I'm surprised that he dropped out so soon, even before the final votes were tallied in New Hampshire. And I thought he would use his support as some kind of leverage, and maybe he did, and I just don't know. We're not privy to all the backroom dealings or computations. Not saying that Andrew Yang's one of these guys who does like dealings and smoke-filled rooms, but we're not really privy to everything that was going on behind the scenes. He's a smart guy. I'm assuming he did the math, but it's also important to remember that UBI is bigger than Andrew Yang. He didn't invent it. In fact, I've been a supporter of UBI for a number of years before Andrew Yang picked up the idea. And I'm still here. Yang's still here. We've got new supporters now. Millions of new UBI supporters. So Andrew Yang, what he's achieved is really remarkable, and he's not going anywhere. Tulsi Gabbard looks to be integrating UBI into her platform. She posted that on her Twitter, either today or yesterday. Isn't this pretty? Is it too loud for the video? Maybe it's too loud for the video. If it is, my apologies. But something I thought was interesting, somebody posted on the Andrew Yang Reddit that Bloomberg News, owned by Michael Bloomberg, that Bloomberg News wrote a really great article about UBI back in 2018 about Obama and Bezos and how they could get UBI done. Remember that UBI was a topic of President Obama's first speech, former President Obama. First speech out of office. Isn't this cool? Every once in a while you can see the beaver, where the beavers have cut it up. Yeah, so UBI is not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. We're here together, Yang Gang. And we shall be thankful for Andrew. This movement is bigger than he is, but he's certainly a legend of the movement now. And yeah. Vice President Andrew Yang? Is that possible? I don't know. I really don't know. Vice President Andrew Yang. If he had held out longer, maybe, but maybe everyone's already kind of seeing that it's going to be a moderate like Amy. If she doesn't get the nomination, they like to go with some kind of, moderate, But whatever it is, I don't want to see Andrew's platform go to waste. So whoever picks up Andrew Yang, and they really should, he needs to be a part of whatever administration. And as I've said before, I don't even care if it's Trump. If Trump wants to pick up UBI, do it. Do it. UBI is something that is universal. It's something that makes sense for everybody. It's kind of like the Democrats and Republicans. It's not like one party owns democracy, right? Everyone recognizes that democracy is a great idea. It's just a given that democracy will be a part of your platform, right? UBI is like that. It will be. It will be looked at as something like that in the future, I imagine. We'll think. Can you imagine they never had UBI? They didn't have UBI. Can you imagine? We'll look back and however long, we could be thinking, can you imagine they didn't have UBI? That everyone didn't agree it was a great idea. Right? But I also think it's a mistake to assume that UBI is a given. As Andrew Yang talks about, Thomas Paine, at the founding of the United States, was for UBI. Well, gosh, that was a long time ago. And it still isn't a reality, right? It's not a given. It's not a given. Martin Luther King Jr., my grandparents, Don and Naomi Levy, walked with in Selma, Alabama. He talked about it. It's not a given. It might never happen. It's on us. It's up to us to decide if we want to make it happen. Right? So, Arturo, Shaving with Tully, you might know him. He's been an active presence, leader of this movement. He announced that he's running for Congress, New Hampshire. It's awesome, right? I don't think he has the details yet, but he's announced it's going to happen. He's running, and got me thinking. Oh gosh, I bet I could do that. I could do Congress. Got me thinking. I've got a degree in business and education. I'm very forward thinking. I could do it. I've got leadership experience. I could be in Congress. I posted on my, with the UBI platform, of course. I posted on my Twitter, I was just thinking about it. I'm thinking about running for Congress after Arturo said that that he's running. I got 1,200 likes. That was amazing. Yeah, I'm pretty new to Twitter, so that's really cool. I've only been on there for about a month or so. I don't know. Something I have to think about. I was thinking, what would I run as? Democrats always think I'm too conservative, and Republicans think I'm too liberal. I thought, what if I ran as a Democratic Republican? You know what that is? That's what the party was called before they split. Do you know that the Democrats and Republicans used to be one party? They were one party and then they split. Democratic Republicans. Yeah, now people are history buffs will kind of be splitting hairs and saying, well, the Federalists and blah, blah, blah. And then the Democratic Republicans were really not the blah, blah, blah. It's symbolic, okay? That was a party. It was the Democratic Republicans. And they split into the Democrats and the Republicans. Now, whether the platforms were the same as they are today, that's a different matter. Okay? But it'd be more symbolic than anything else. And it's getting pretty hot in this big jacket. Give me a second here. Let me take this jacket off. Look how tall those trees are. It's like a rainforest out here. I love it. This is in Washington State. I'm in Washington State. These big trees, these are it's a rainforest. Like feels very prehistoric out here. I love it. This is pretty much just right outside my door. Yeah. And the doggies love it. Right? I'm surprised that more people don't walk while they record podcasts. It's just it's just so much nicer. You know, being in a cramped room in front of your computer. This is so much nicer, isn't it? Just get out and walk. Yeah. What is the purpose of this podcast? Do you know? Do I know? Do I even know? Well, it's the Optimum Report, and the idea is that it supports the mission of the Optimum Institute, which is like, then under the Optimum Institute, there's the Optimum Academy, there's Optimum Fit Sports, there's just Optimum, right? And the idea is that what's the mission of the Optimum Institute? It's happiness, health, success, now and across generations. And shouldn't that be the goal of any organization, right? I mean, what are we doing this for? To be happy, to be healthy, to be successful. What is success? I define success as happiness and health across time. So I'm not talking about monetary success. Money is just a means to an end, right? You can't eat paper. If you're sick, you can't rub paper all over your body and get better, right? Money is a means to an end. So success is really happiness and health through time, now and across generations. So, yeah, that is the key. That is the key to life, right? So that's what this podcast is about. And that plots through certain zones, right? So I think that UBI is a happiness and health maximum. It's a vector of happiness and health. It's and I said, like I said, it's not a guarantee, but if we go through UBI, if we take on that timeline, we have a better chance of maximizing our happiness and health through time. And we're going to be talking about things as varied as better, more optimal healthcare, more optimal education, more optimal social arrangements, more optimal curriculums, ideas, right? So we're going to be talking about all these things. And something I'm actually a proponent of, you might know, is this idea called, now this is really far out, and I might lose you with this one. So if I lose you with this, I'm sorry. And again, it's okay to disagree. Here at the Optimum Report and Institute, you can disagree. It's science, right? You don't have to agree, or you're free to make up your mind. You're free to challenge these ideas. You're free to argue. You're free to debate. That's how things get done, right? This isn't a CULT. If I say the word, the algorithm will pick it up, I'm sure. So this is not a CULT. You know, people always ask that. I'm spelling it out because the algorithm. People always ask, is this a CULT? No, it's not. You know, there's a definition to CULT. The members are not allowed to leave, right? There's some kind of adherence to some ultimate authority. None of these apply to the Optimum Institute. We are an educational institute. You can come and go whenever you like. You can argue and disagree. In fact, that's encouraged. It'd be weird if you agreed with everything, right? Because much of our theory is certainly wrong. I think it's as right as it can possibly be, but who am I? I'm a fallible human being, right? Much of it will certainly be proven wrong at some point. So, yeah. And so we've got these zones that happiness, health, and success pass through, as far as I'm concerned. One of them is UBI. That's a way to maximize happiness, health, and success. In fact, there's actually a deeper principle than UBI. UBI is just, there's a deeper principle. And I could talk at length about the theory of what this deeper principle is, but the deeper principle is that we share our gains with each other. That's the deeper principle. And I know that sharing has turned into this dirty word. It's really strange how that's happened. How it's like sharing has turned into a dirty word. You want to share? What are you? Some kind of kame? Right? It's sad. But sharing is the foundation of capitalism. It's how it works, right? You grow the potatoes, I grow the radishes, and then we share them with each other using this conversion that we call money. Money is the way that we convert things into each other, right? So imagine this. Imagine an ideal society where 50% of your gains go directly into the VAT. And I'm talking about VAT. You could call it a value-added tax, or just think of it like a big VAT, a communal VAT. Every time you make some kind of gain, 50% of that's cut off and put into the VAT. And then every month or so, every month is fine, you take that VAT and you spread it around across to the whole tribe. You could even do it on a daily basis, right? You could, and we're talking about an ideal scenario. I suppose in an ideal scenario, as soon as the gain is made, it gets spread evenly across the tribe, right? And I like the 50-50 rule, 50% me, 50% to the tribe, because in theory, we're about equal about who we are and the gains made of our community before us, right? The only reason I'm able to get this information out to you is because of the gains made by DARPA and our taxes at work. The computer and internet were government projects funded by taxes, right? So you got to think that we owe it. We owe it to each other. When we make a gain, when Jeff Bezos makes $1 billion, he did that because of our leveraging the money that from our taxes as a society. Another word that has become dirty. Society, socialism? No, I'm just talking about society, okay? And the gains of society. Jeff Bezos wouldn't be a billionaire without all those gains made before him. So you got to think, okay, so he owes. Now, in an ideal scenario, could be wrong, right? That's why it's theory. An ideal scenario, take 50% of any gain Bezos makes, and then that's spread evenly across the tribe. So that's the deeper principle behind UBI. UBI is kind of it's a smaller version of that, right? You can think of some kind of future where everything is tracked, for better or worse. It's going to happen. In the future, everything will be tracked. Everything you do will be monitored. They'll know. We will know, right? We as a collective will know everything that happens. Anytime you make a gain, 50% of that spread evenly across the tribe, across the society. This is much easier when the platform is completely controlled, which is what VR is. Think about virtual reality. So I got one of these Oculus Quests, which is like essentially magic. If you were to take that back in time 50 years, they wouldn't even believe it's real, right? It's essentially magic. And you've got these platforms like these programs like AltSpace or Rec Room or VR chat, and everything's monitored. You're having a conversation in there, and you think you're alone with somebody, right? You create a portal in virtual reality. Maybe you're going on a virtual date. I've been on a few virtual dates, by the way. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So you create a portal. I can talk about that. So you create a portal, and you're on a virtual date on some snowy mountaintop cabin, like I did. That's what we did. We went to a snowy mountaintop cabin. We even had a virtual kiss. Yeah, and you can feel it in your brain. You can feel the serotonin. It feels good. You can't feel it, really on your face, but you can feel it in your brain. It's amazing. And you think you're alone, but you're not. Everything's being tracked. Everything's being recorded in this virtual space. So now imagine you take that a step further, where you can create gains within this virtual world. Maybe you create some kind of virtual caveman simulator, right? And now you were getting into Elon Musk's, simulation theory, which is that that everything's a virtual world. We're in a virtual world right now. So think how much fun it would be. You got this virtual caveman simulator, and you've got virtual wildebeest, virtual. Someone should do this, by the way. If you want to do this, go for it. Go for it. Do it. It'd be amazing. Caveman simulator, and you can spawn in and out of the environment. Maybe you can only spawn in if two characters inside of the virtual environment decide to have a child. Wouldn't that be something? So you spawn into this virtual environment with these virtual mastodons, and every time you take down a mastodon, 50% of that mastodon goes to your tribe. It's like allocated to them. And that's probably how it was among our early ancestors. You take down a mastodon, you'd give 50% of that to the tribe. Maybe you keep 50% for yourself because you took down the mastodon. But you wouldn't have even known how to hunt mastodon if the tribe hadn't taught you, right? It's fun to think about an ideal world. What would a perfect, optimal world look like? Well, one of the things we say at the Optimum Institute is that there is no such thing as a perfect state, that everything is always changing. There is no end point. UBI is not the end. UBI is just a new level. Even mind uploading is not the end. Mind uploading is just a new level. Elon Musk has a great way to say it. He says that Darwin never sleeps. I like that. At the Optimum Institute, we say that optimization never ceases. Optimization is continuous. It's happening all around us at the speed of light. There is no point where we can relax and say, it is finished. No, that will never happen. Once we upload, the challenges will just be new challenges. New challenges. We might live forever, and yet there will be new challenges. Yeah. Yeah, there's so much to talk about. It's hard to even pick someone posted in the comments, "Hey Gary, what is a tangent?" Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. What is a tangent? Yeah, there's so much to talk about. There's so much to talk about. Right? It's hard to even pick. There's so many doors open in the world that we have today. There's so many doors. It's hard to even pick one. And so you can think, what if there's some kind of society? What is the end state? Oh, here's something that I might really lose you with. I had this fun hypothesis, an idea for a science fiction novel. So don't take this as some kind of canonical, part of optimum theory. But I had this idea for a science fiction novella or something where we find out that the end state of every super civilization, is to go to basically turn into a star. The more and more doors we open up, the more and more that we basically set ourselves, we go nuclear, and then so the novella ends with humanity, with Earth bursting into a star, and we are the star. We become the star, and then you can imagine zooming out and just see the trillions, an infinite number of stars, and you kind of have this realization at the end of the novella that every star was a successful civilization, or Baxter a little bit, or if you want to use the word success, maybe not. That every single star was a civilization that had detonated itself. So maybe success isn't the right word. Can you imagine that? It's like people always ask, where are the aliens, right? Where are the aliens? They must be out there. And then you find out in this novella that the stars, those are the alien civilizations. They all had detonated themselves, right? Why did I use the word like that as success? Well, in the novella, maybe it'd be up to interpretation, kind of like in the book Contact, where it's up to interpretation. It's certainly in the movie. I think in the book it was less interpretation, but certainly in the movie, it's up to interpretation if Jodie Foster had really made contact with an alien civilization or not. So you can, maybe in this novella, it would be up to interpretation if if it's a good thing that Earth had detonated itself. Now, why would it even be a good thing? Because if you think about what the definition of life is, and we talk about this, if you go to the Optimum Institute and watch our video, The Theory of Everything, we talk about the definition of life. And that our definition of human life is very narrow. That most life on Earth is not conscious like we are. So if you think about that, okay, so consciousness is not prerequisite for life. It's not a guarantee of life. Think of a jellyfish. A jellyfish is not any more conscious than a plant, right? They move around. You might think, oh, it certainly can feel. No, it doesn't. A jellyfish does not feel. And it will, not by any kind of model of science we have. It has no central organism. It has no central nervous system. It's like a Venus flytrap closes and opens, but you never say a Venus flytrap feels, right? Neither does a jellyfish. In my informed opinion, informed enough. So the point I'm getting at is that the fact that we are conscious does not mean that this is an ideal, that this is the zenith of life. You know, we certainly seem to think that human beings we've conquered. We are certainly on the past the knee of the curve of conquering all of Earth in our solar system. Right? The only thing holding us back is maybe viruses. But we'll figure that out eventually. And so you might think, okay, human beings, they're the top dog, right? But if you look at the definition of life, what we've discovered at the Optimum Institute, and it could be wrong, but what we've discovered is that life is just what we think of as DNA-based life is just a subcategory of a deeper principle that we call optimization. So you wonder, how did Darwinian evolution start? That's what we answer at the Optimum Institute. We could be wrong, of course, but we have computational models, as you'll see on our website, that show how inorganic atoms, molecules, can start self-arranging themselves into replicating structures. And one of the things that I've pointed out before is that according to our rules of optimization, that a star is arguably the most advanced form of life there is. It's impossible to eat. You can't eat it, so it has no known enemies. There is no known predator of a star. It consumes energy, therefore it has a metabolism, right, in the broadest sense of the word. You can even think that it reproduces itself. Once it reaches its maximum lifespan, it goes supernova. It spreads its seeds everywhere that eventually condense into new stars, right? So maybe a star really is the most advanced form of life. We just didn't know what we were looking for, right? Imagine going back in time and explaining to your ancestors that you are from the same genetic early line that sprouted plants and jellyfish and birds and bees, that we are related to these plants here. We're related to them. We really are, if you go far back enough. And so what we've done at the Optimum Institute, we pulled that window, shifted that window even further, and showed how you're not only related to all living DNA life, you're related to all energy matter, full stop, including stars. I think that's enough for an episode. I'm trying to make these episodes 30 minutes. Now, it used to be 15, now 30. I think I'll record a few more today. We'll have installments. Part 1, 2, and 3. I think maybe we'll do 3 episodes. Okay, bye.